within DC fans are the Taliban and Snyder Cut fans are ISIS. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
If you want to,
Gary said that like 5 times.
I'm just talking about like degrees of fundamentalism. That's all I'm saying. Okay, you're passionate fans. It's all good.
Snyder people, you know it's right.
But
you know it's right.
now.
You brought up George Clooney. Where does he rank in best to worst Batmans?
Among the worst.
The worst.
The worst.
The worst Batman.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin's the worst adaptation of Batman, period.
I still like that movie though.
Okay,
It's
you can
fun
like it
as a dumb kid
but
movie,
he's
yes.
not a good.
But it's not good.
He could have been a good Batman if he was in like a real Batman movie and not some gay cartoon.
Yeah.
But
Even his Batman, no, his Batman was
Okay.
the same as his Bruce Wayne, and it was not Batman at all. It was just like, hey,
it
I've
was
got a bad
memeable.
credit card.
It's a memeable movie. It's a memeable movie. It's fucking terrible, but it's a memeable movie.
It is.
The second worst Batman is probably Pattinson.
It's Ben Affleck.
No, it's not.
Affleck.
Ben Affleck's a good Batman.
It's Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck
Just because he's not good in movies.
Listen. If maybe his stunt double was good. His stunt double was good in
What
the
do you
warehouse.
think? Do you think Robert Pattinson was doing his own stunts? Get the fuck out of here.
I'm just saying the only thing that people reference is the warehouse scene, and that wasn't even Affleck. Okay,
Yeah.
That was his fucking stunt
Affleck.
double.
Martha, where'd you get that name? Where'd you get that
Yes,
name?
Ben Affleck's Batman sucks. Ben Affleck is awesome. I'm a huge fan of him as an actor. I'm a huge fan of him as a director. His Batman sucked. Batman vs Superman sucked. It's a garbage fucking movie.
Here's the deal.
It just is.
If they did I've been saying it all along. If they did a Batman series instead of a Batman movie on HBO Max and made it like the Penguin, if they made it like the Penguin, they could recast Robert Pattinson and no one would care. Like absolutely no one would give a shit.
I agree with that. Yeah. But here's what I'll say is, what was it? So
unless it's for Leslie Jones or something like that.
In the Flash movie, though, in the Flash movie, without Zack Snyder directing it, Ben Affleck was pretty fucking cool in that movie, just for the brief moments that we had him in.
That's what I'm talking about.
His stunt double when he was flying around doing that shit.
No, I'm just saying, like, he actually felt
Ryan.
like Batman. He felt like Batman, and he wasn't Murder Man, because that's what he was in Snyder's universe. Was Murder
I'm
Man.
talking about conceptually.
So.
I'm not talking about execution, but conceptually, looking in the costume. For one, he's in the most comic accurate costume there is. I think Ben Affleck was a good Batman. They just wasted it, just like Henry Cavill. They wasted him too.
I think he was a good Bruce Wayne too.
Yes,
And a
I
good
do
Alfred.
too.
In the moments
Alfred
we get
was
him,
great.
I absolutely do. Think
Jeremy Irons is Alfred.
Jeremy Irons
Holy
as Alfred
shit.
is so good.
That could have been so
Craziest
good.
thing is,
Waste.
Listen, by the time Batman 2 comes out, I think we talked about this the other day.
I'll be 60.
Will basically Pattinson will be 41 by the time that releases.
Wow,
and I think Affleck was like 43 or whatever
not
when BVS came out or when he was filming it, which is nuts. One guy is the guy at the end of his career. One is supposed to be the guy starting his career. They're basically the same age.
Could you?
Could somebody please explain to me the Creature Commandos?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull
reveal?
up that. I'm gonna
like the Batman reveal there. Like, why are people upset and or angry about it? That seems to be in my timeline a lot.
Wow, we'll try to do the cliff notes of the dichotomy and the of man and the duality of man. Sorry, the duality of man and DC fans. DC fans are okay. So Marvel.
Marvel fans are normies. DC fans are hardcore.
Yeah, DC. Within DC fans are the Taliban and Snyder Cut fans are ISIS. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
If you want to,
You're getting clipped.
That's so hot.
I am no longer the most hated person in the Snyder fandom. Gary just took that title.
Gary said that like 5 times.
I'm just talking about like degrees of fundamentalism. That's all I'm saying. Okay, you're passionate fans. It's all good.
Snyder people, you know it's right.
But now there's Gunn fans. So like whatever whatever
we have
cell
like
we have another cell of Gunn fans and the Snyder fans, and they just fucking hate each other. So the whole controversy for one, it looked like a Batman from Batman the Animated Series. That's what it looked like. But they were like. A lot of the complaints about Snyder's Batman was he was too thick, he was too big, and they have this just big, thick Batman there that just looks. I don't think it looked like Affleck at all. I think it looked like Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah,
personally.
but to Gary's point though, so DC fans are just incredibly passionate.
Batman's big.
They're never happy. They're never going to be unified on anything, and that's just fine.
That's
they're
fandom.
like They're like libertarians. They're just never.
They are, except
so DC fans will never see eye to eye on anything.
DC fans got their version of DC, and they got their version of DC.
Yeah,
and
then you have these this faction because of the movies. Snyder fans are no bullshit. Like, obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of his DC movies. Snyder fans are some of the most passionate fans in all of
hardcore.
Fandom, period. And I love that about them.
They love what they love.
And now you have this and now you have James Gunn coming into the DC universe, and he has his own fans that have kind of followed him from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And now you've got the Snyder fans and the Gunn fans within the DC fandom that are fighting within each other. And it's a shit show, and I love it. This is what fandom's all about.
A lot of it's so fucking nonsensical too.
It's mostly on Twitter.
But like DC fans, I agree, Gary. You got like Sunni Shiite, Taliban. For Marvel, it's basically like gay pride parades.
It is now, but you remember. I mean, I know you know, Ryan, but the term DC had a term for Marvel fans. It was Marvel zombies. That's what they called them. Because they would just put up with anything, right? And
establishment shills.
I will never forgive Marvel fans for making Captain Marvel $1 billion film. Go fuck yourself for that one, okay? Like, that just shows how normified they are.
Is there something intrinsic about the DC universe that makes it so hard to serve the fans?
Because they have the best
seem
characters.
like they get rug pulled all the time, right?
Oh,
It's
yes.
Like,
there is.
They have the best characters. They have the most iconic characters. So Batman and Superman, no matter how many Robert Downey Jr. fans are out there or whatever, they're never going to be on the level of Superman and Batman. It doesn't matter how many billions the Marvel Cinematic Universe makes. Batman and Superman are the standard. They always will be the standard. Spider-Man's the only one that has an argument to be among those two guys.
Spider-Man's a bigger superhero than both of them.
So, yeah, like
worldwide, it's not even close.
Yes, because of normies.
Yeah,
but Superman is the most definitive superhero of all time, and Batman is the coolest superhero of all time. You know what I mean? But Spider-Man hits the normies, so he hits to another level. So I get that. But anyway,
I mean, hits the normies in the same way Star Wars hits the normies. Star Wars is the most normie-friendly thing out there too. I mean, if you want to.
100%. Yeah.
One of the reasons that it's the way this is over the past decade is also because of Warner Brothers specifically.
Yes.
Like because of like it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter whether it was Nolan. You still had people coming out there when Christian Bale was cast. You still had people going out there when Heath Ledger was cast. You had these like very, very strong opinions about these characters. But in the post-Nolan universe, Warner Brothers as a company made a lot of decisions. They'd go forward, they'd go back, they'd be very reactive to this or that, sometimes to their detriment. And that's led to this fucking disaster zone of DC. And it was all while Marvel made the biggest cinematic universe that we've ever seen in history.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they were constantly, they were like, okay, we got to try to copy that. Well, no, that's not working. We have to change this. We have to change that. We need to cut this to shreds. We need to do this. So regardless of whether or not people liked a creative vision that something might be headed in, it immediately got taken away and gone the other direction.
During that run, you had the Nolan Batman that was crushing it. Then you had the video game side. Batman was dominating the video game world, the Arkham series. And then wasn't that Scott Snyder's run that was going on? That was
Warner Brothers in the 2000s was dominant. Absolutely fucking dominant.
Batman dominated all of media.
Harry Potter,
run.
Warner
Batman
Brothers,
dominating all
Game of Thrones was going strong on HBO. They were fucking dominant.
The DC universe is a darker universe, which makes it more difficult to do stories, especially in the current day, where if you feel like you're living in a darker world. So to tell a heroic story requires a lot more talent to do properly, whereas Marvel, it's overall more just heroic stuff. It's people doing good things, and that's a very easy
Marvel's Marvel has maintained comic-wise their personality from the 60s to like 2016. Okay, we said there's an ending date, but they had a personality as a publisher, and they maintained that personality that entire era. DC, which was their first, Superman, Batman were their first. They changed all the fucking time, and then all of a sudden they were chasing Marvel forever in the comic books, and they've had a chip on their shoulder because like, we're fucking here first. Marvel copied half of our shit. They did, and they did it better, for a long time, but they maintained their personality and they maintained their continuity. Now things are different now, but that's always been like DC should have been the big brother that has the little brother syndrome, and that carried over into the movies for some reason. But what Ryan was talking about, Toby, the executives who took over Warner Brothers, Toby Emmerich being one of them, a known plagiarist, and then I forgot the Japanese guy's name who was running the studios first that got Me Too'd out of there by Jar Jar Abrams' wife, so he could sign that deal and do fucking nothing with it.
Talking about Walter Hamada?
Before Walter, no, it was before Walter Hamada. It was before. There was another guy there before Hamada, right? Hamada came from the horror side, right, and was known for making a lot of money with horror movies. And they thought he could do the same thing with DC and Warner Brothers, and didn't do it. But there was another guy, I forgot what it was, and he slept with
Chan?
No, he slept with. I forgot his name. He slept with an actress. He did what like people do.
Oh, I can't say that.
Kevin Suzuki Toyota. Okay, that's his name. All right.
Yeah, he got fired because of sexual behavior.
Yeah, he got forced out by Jar Jar Abrams' wife. So like they're fucking stupid, and they had a bunch of, and what Ryan said, a bunch of knee-jerk executives who like, they probably should have stuck with Snyder's plan. Instead of like finding a way to get rid of him after his fucking wife, his daughter committed suicide, bringing in Joss Whedon and just doing, and then trying to make DC Marvel. That's what they did. And that was one of their biggest mistakes. And they've been behind ever since. And now they want to like reboot it for the third time in 10 fucking years. And when the superhero movies kind of taking a beating. So that's the history of Warner Brothers. That's the pressure that's on James Gunn right now. And that's not even counting the DC fandom is split. They're totally split.
They're very much split right now. The reaction to the Superman trailer has been overwhelmingly positive, but the discussion online has been completely split. I haven't looked at that trailer in a couple of weeks, but I mean, it was like insane. It's like a 96% ratio last time I looked.
It's good. Like it's
supposed to be at 93.
Very good response. Very good response to it.
Yeah. Will it work?
Oh,
will the movie work?
If it's good.
This is the problem with Superman. Superman is they can not get Superman right. So we'll see.
They're always
James
apologetic.
Gunn,
They're always apologetic, Jeremy. They're like, he's an American hero, so we got to like ground him a little bit and not make him. There should be American flags everywhere. Like right, Benny. Like it's like Trump going up to a speech and there's 47 American flags. That's what fucking Superman should be.
Yes.
More flags. More flags.
And so right now, I think like James Gunn, he got away with a lot of liberties with Guardians of the Galaxy because no one knew who Guardians of the Galaxy was, generally speaking. So he got away with a ton of liberties. You can't do that with Superman, and that's going to be the problem. I loved his Guardians movies, but he can't get away with that same bullshit in Superman. So that's going to be the test. I mean, can it work? Yes. Will it work? That's the question.
I want it to be good. I really want it to be good.
It's the perfect time for a Superman right now. That's what we need.
I think it's going to be bad. Yeah. I've got a bad vibe on it. I don't think it's going to work.
I think a best case scenario, it's a 7 out of 10.
Which isn't good enough.
Which isn't good enough.
Not good enough.
Just based on the last two movies I've seen from
so it'll basically
3 movies I've seen from James Gunn.
It's going to be the Batman.
It's going to be a 5
isn't good enough.
Like the Batman was like good enough to get a sequel. Was it good enough to justify waiting 5 years for one?
No, not even close.
I mean, I guess Joker was good enough then.
Joker was
a sequel,
and look what happened.
Was that worth it? So have the screenings of Superman been bad?
There was some reports of early screenings, but I don't know if that was confirmed. Ryan, was that confirmed to be legit or not?
Listen, 100% these screenings happened. These were not audience test screenings. These were internal screenings at Warner Brothers with Warner Brothers people. There were some people who saw that. There was like, there's some stuff that's not good. I think we should be worried about it. And I think in general, you should be worried about it, period, because a lot's riding on this movie. A lot is riding on this movie for the future of the DC universe. But I believe that those things happen, that some people said that. Now, are there people there that thought it was fucking awesome too? Probably, 100%. I'm sure there were people that thought this was just awesome as well. It's funny, though, that after those reports came out that, hey, maybe you should be worried about this a little bit, the first reaction was, there have been no screenings of this. This is all bullshit. And then one day later, more stories came out. It's like, actually, reactions for the screening were very, very positive and great. Well, which is it? Obviously, you're doing damage control to try to twist these things. My guess is that the screenings, there's some people that saw it, they're like, I don't know if I like the tone of this. I don't know how this is going to go. But probably not, oh my God, this is an incoming disaster.
No. Didn't I hear some, they said it's like The Mummy and what else?
The Captain America, the First Avenger, and the Mummy.
Which Mummy? Which Mummy?
Yeah, that was my question.
If it's the first Mummy, then like I'm that's fine. I have no problem with that. I mean, it's kind of weird
like
for Superman, but
Fraser?
like I love the first Mummy and I love the first Captain America. I think it's great.
Yeah, same.
And it's like, all right, that's good. Yeah. And like when you hear test screenings when it comes to Marvel stuff, it's mostly bullshit. They don't test screen as much as fucking DC does. Warner Brothers does test screen. I've talked to people who've gone to them. They test screen the shit out of Flash. A lot of good that did. They showed it almost a year early at CinemaCon. Remember when we were there? Like people had seen it at CinemaCon. So they felt really good about that. So like you can't trust and test screeners. I don't know how good they are in LA anymore. Maybe they need to get out of the home field, right? And get out of Burbank and maybe not do test screenings to the same people over, which is what they do, by the way. They do it to the same people over and over again. And they need to get out and maybe do a test screening in freaking Orlando or, or Grand Rapids or something like that and get another point of view. I'm just saying outside of Southern California, who's just going to love everything so I can keep getting test screenings. I'm sure it's the same situation. Not to disrespect, if you get a test screening, go. I don't care. But, and they're not out there, like these people are, they're pretty anonymous with the test screening stuff. But it's not like a shill.
I just want to know, just before we move off this topic, who's winning? Is it the Corn Sweat team or is it the Henry Cavill team?
Ooh, Cavill's winning until Corn Sweat comes out and proves himself.
I don't think that there's any way the Corn Sweat team can be winning right now. Cavill's still got the pulse of the fandom, so until the movie comes out, there's no way he to know that. But right now, Cavill still has the pulse of the fandom.
Okay, he's king.
The thing is, even people that hate
like me,
the Zack Snyder's DC universe love Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yeah.
And so like that, which is kind of strange, right? Which is very strange. It doesn't feel like, even if you don't like the direction of the movies, he gets none of the criticism involving them. All of it goes to like Zack Snyder's vision. If you don't like those movies, none of it goes to Cavill. The thing that was surprising to me was how many similarities to Man of Steel and that vibe of that universe we saw in the first trailer. Like that was the shocking thing to me.
People were saying it's very different. People were like, no, this one's dark, this one's bright and light, and
well, there's little themes.
Maybe the color palette.
There's certain symbolic moments in that trailer that were very reminiscent of the Zack Snyder stuff for sure. But yeah, I mean, like even me, I'm obviously don't like that those movies, but I mean, Cavill is the best person to be cast in that role. I understand why they wouldn't want to move forward with him because it's too attached to that previous universe, but at the same time, he still would have been
Jason Momoa is going to be Lobo.
Yeah.
Jor-El, Henry Cavill, just throwing it out there.
Well, his interview,
he can be young when
was he asked this during The Witcher, Ryan, when they gave the response about
toxic
fans response was the perfect response, and that's why he's beloved by the fandom, like across the board, because he gave the proper response, which is fans are passionate. They've always been like this.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.